Everyone, welcome to another Music Talk Tuesday, and today I'm going to briefly dive into some of my personal favorites of Prince's songs. Um, Now, I know recently he unfortunately passed away, and I thought it would be interesting to sort of explore the music that I in particular enjoyed of his. Now, I wouldn't say I would be the biggest Prince fan, only because I thought some of his material was alright, and then others I thought were pretty well orchestrated, and I could definitely understand why there is a lot of praise and recognition for his accomplishments and his work. So, without further ado, let me address the ones that stood out to me. Starting with one of his most famous and probably most iconic, Purple Rain. Um, this one is actually rather interesting because it was featured within his film Purple Rain and sort of plays a pivotal role within the plot of the film, where some of his band members come up with the song, and he's sort of hesitant on really performing it, but then he ultimately ends up performing it towards the end of the film. And basically, it's pretty straightforward as far as its meaning behind it. Prince is sort of singing about being devoted to this one particular girl, even though she doesn't offer the kind of same affection back as it's sort of really hinted at within the song. And you also uh, hear Purple Rain as sort of an emphasis onto various different things. There have been a variety of different uh, meanings that people have derived at least out of that one particular part of the song, which is the title of it. Uh, some saying that it has to do with freedom, um, others maybe a sense of happiness, um, and or even sadness, and I think there's a lot of different feelings and ideas that you could get behind the concept, but pretty much the premise of the song is pretty straightforward. Also, what is another thing that's really interesting about this song is its combination sort of genres. You'll notice that Prince often has done that throughout his career, is sort of mix up different genres. Sometimes this works, I think, to his advantage, and other times I just think it sounds a little bit too strange and a little bit too out there for my taste. But here I can definitely see it working to its advantage more so, because you have sort of hints of gospel, you've got uh, this, sort of electric guitar playing. You really do get a sense of the powerful punch that the song is trying to convey, and having these sort of two genres kind of blended in together. At least those were the ones in particular that stood out to me, at least within the song. You really do see that elevate its quality, and it really mixes itself together fairly well. So I think it's definitely safe to say that it's one of his more famous, one of his more uh, one of his more highly praised works, and it's definitely safe to say why that is. And it's a song that I think is just uh, enjoyable overall in its presentation. Uh, Now, the second song that I'm going to be addressing is one that I think a lot of people may or may not put as their personal favorites of his, but this one I enjoy for a variety of different reasons. But uh, this song I'm talking about is Raspberry Beret. Now, uh, not only is this song really catchy, it's also very upbeat. There's a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy. uh, you do really get the sense that Prince wanted to make sort of a kind of more not so serious song, and I think this is one that's done in a way that's very uh, that works at least to his advantage. But basically, he sort of tells a story in the form of this song, and how he ends up coming across a girl, a woman, who wears a raspberry beret, and he sort of falls sort of head over heels for her. And there's some undertones to what exactly, there's sort of an underbelly explanation to various aspects that are in the lyrics, and as to what exactly they symbolize or what they mean. But from its surface, it's pretty straightforward. And basically, what also I think works as well with this song is the fact that it tries to have this sort of cool edge to it, and try to be also somewhat stylish. You know, it kind of gives you the sense of confidence, and you know, you just kind of want to get up off of your chair, and you know, you want to dance, and you want to you know, sing along with this song. And I think this is one of the Prince songs that is a lot more again, upbeat, that I think works more to his advantage, and is, I think, definitely worthy of recommendation. But moving on to Let's Go Crazy. This is another one of Prince's songs where it's similar to Raspberry Beret and how upbeat and energetic it is. But instead of talking about sort of a specific story, it sort of more broadly talks about life, and how there's going to be aspects of it that are going to you know, bring you down, or make you feel sad, or make you or put you in a state of not necessarily being as happy or fulfilled or whatnot. And Prince sort of addresses the aspect of, you know, just kind of letting all of that negative energy go, and just having a good time and enjoying yourself, and you know, really taking in everything that sort of surrounds you, and in doing so kind of go a little crazy, you know, party up, and you know, just have fun, and don't let the pressures of life kind of weigh you down. And I think that's really the main message of the song. Although obviously you could argue whether or not there's certain amounts, again, symbolism and meaning behind various different parts of the lyrics. But there's just such an enthusiasm to the way in which Prince sings, and how the instrumentals are put together, that it does, you know, make you want to have this song played, you know, at some point. You know, at a party or something. You know, it just has that colorfulness to it that, again, is very contagious and energetic. It just gets you into that, I think, right mood. But I think that's really ultimately all I can say about that particular song. And also, I think what also makes this song stick out in particular is the fact that Prince actually, within the beginning of the song, sort of talks before he ends up actually singing. And again, it kind of gives a little bit more of a punch and a power to it. And again, I think is a little bit more bold than Raspberry Beret, that's just kind of happy-go-lucky, energetic. Now, last one. And I did already mention another song of Prince's that I also enjoyed, where I talked about various cars, or at least songs that reference cars. You can check out that one, and I do reference his song, Little Red Corvette. But I'm not going to mention it here, only because I mentioned it in a previous video. But you could technically put that down as one of my personal favorites of his too. But lastly, the final song that I wanted to briefly mention is When Doves Cry. Although, again, uh, when looking at all of the songs uh, that Prince has done over the years, I can definitely say that this one is probably, again, one of his more well known, and it's definitely safe to say why that is. It's a very interesting blend of sound and creates an overall passionate and yet kind of interesting vibe to it. But basically, within the song, Prince sort of talks about he how there is how there's two lovers who end up falling sort of passionately in love, and then eventually they end up sort of kind of drifting apart due to a variety of different reasons. And um, it's it sort of plays out in a way like a tragedy almost, especially with the sort of title When Doves Cry. So it really does pack a sort of a punch to it in that you can sort of feel kind of the pain, the anger, the sadness, but you can also still feel like kind of the deep emotions that the two lovers apparently have for one another. And this is also told through, again, sort of more Prince's perspective. In other words, the narrator sort of saying like, sort of being one of the lovers, and you sort of get an interesting sort of interpretation as a result. But I think those are all of the things that I can really say about all of these songs. I'll be sure to put some of these, or try to put all of them, the ones at least that I mentioned, below if I can find them. Because usually Prince's works are kind of difficult to find. But I'll see if there's some available on the interwebs. But I think that's really all I can say, though. I'd be more than happy to hear what anybody else has to say, and if they have in particular any songs that they enjoyed from Prince. I think he was definitely a really interesting artist, and I know he was involved with a lot of charity work, and he did a lot of good stuff for people, so I think it's definitely good that his music continues and that people are inspired and, are able to um, kind of get some kind of inspiration from him and also other artists as well. But yeah, until next time, everybody, though. Bye bye.